Hey guys, how are you? It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to Inspirations for Your Life. It is Sunday. It's May 4th, 2025. Great to be with you here on Inspirations for Your Life as we get into day two of our brand new master topic, which, incidentally, if you missed it yesterday, it's living with basically the purpose, standing strong and leading with heart were show 4 series and show 19 series 4 show 19, and the granular is courage over comfort, series 4 show 19, episode number 2. So welcome everyone. I am so grateful that you are here with me here on the platform. Do check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, of course, inspiring creations. All right, guys, welcome to the show, and let's get this started. All right, everyone. All right, sounds good to me. So, this is going to be an amazing show. I do invite you to head over to your kitchen, maybe get something delicious and yummy. And once you do that, could be something to eat, something to drink, healthy or not, it's up to you. And come on back. Well, welcome to another powerful episode of the Inspirations for Your Life podcast. I am your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, podcast coach, and host. And I'm here to guide you in uncovering the greatness within yourself. Tonight, we're diving into a bold and transformative topic, courage over comfort. You see, too often we settle for what's easy instead of what's meaningful. But if you're truly ready to actually evolve, then you'll find this helpful. Whether in your personal life, leadership, or your career, it's time to stop chasing comfort and start choosing courage. That's right. Start choosing courage. And I think that's really important. So this episode, ladies and gentlemen, is packed with a lot of great information. And I'm going to walk you through why courage is not a luxury. It's a necessity. So grab your headphones, open up your heart, and get ready to step outside your safe or your comfort zone into your purposeful, driven power. Remember, I said, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. We have to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. We have to practice getting comfortable being uncomfortable. That's really the truth, because that's where the magic happens, is when we are uncomfortable. I didn't say in pain. I said just get basically uncomfortable a little bit. So defining the concept of courage versus comfort. Courage and comfort are opposing forces. Comfort feels safe, familiar, and easy, but it rarely leads to progress. Courage, on the other hand, requires risk, uncertainty, and often discomfort. But it's the only path to real transformation. When we choose courage, we're not saying we aren't afraid. We're simply choosing to act in spite of fear. It's the difference between staying where you are and stepping into who you could become. And courage is the spark that ignites growth. Comfort is the cushion that holds you back. So I think that's an important thing for everybody here to obviously understand. Number two, the role of fear in keeping us in our comfort zones. You see, fear is that gatekeeper of our comfort zones. It tells us we're not ready, we'll fail, or others will judge us. And while fear's job is to protect us, it often oversteps its bounds, keeping us locked and chained into routines that limit our true potential. Whether it's fear of rejection, failure, or the unknown, these mental blocks that we have convince us that staying put is safer than leaping forward. But the truth is this: the more we avoid fear, the more power it gains. Facing fear isn't about eliminating it, it's about providing we can move forward anyway. And I think that's something that a lot of people, don't really understand. Number three, why growth only happens when we step into discomfort. You see, discomfort is where growth lives. Think about any major achievement you've ever had in your life. It likely came from a place of challenge, not ease. When we push past what we know, we stretch our limits and discover new capabilities. Discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. Just like muscles grow under tension, Your mindset and character expand under pressure. When you lean into the uncomfortable moments, you unlock strength, skills, and self awareness that would remain hidden otherwise. Number four, examples of everyday courage. This is really important, guys. Courage doesn't always roar, it whispers in daily decisions. It's having an uncomfortable conversation, admitting when you're wrong, setting boundaries, or simply showing up when you don't feel confident. It's starting a new job, launching a project, or saying no when it would be easier to say yes. These may seem small, but they build the foundation of a courageous life. Every day presents opportunities to choose bravery over convenience, and those small acts compound into life changing momentum. Number five, guys, and I think this is a very, very important one, is that the long term cost of staying comfortable. I think that's something that a lot of people often miss, but it's important. Comfort may feel good now, but it has a long term cost. When you actually avoid um, the situation, it has a high long-term cost. And by avoiding risk and discomfort, you also avoid growth, innovation, and of course a deeper sense of fulfillment. Over time, comfort leads to stagnation, regret, and a life of what ifs. You might be safe if you do this, right? um, and that can be a big problem. But you're also stuck in one place. The pain of missed opportunities, unlived potential, and unexplored dreams adds up, and it weighs heavily more than the temporary discomfort of courage that ever will. Choosing comfort may cost you your future self, so be careful. Number six, how to build a courage muscle. Through small actions, courage, like any muscle, strengthens with use. Start small, speak up in meetings, say yes to new experiences, or express your opinion even when it's uncomfortable. Each act of bravery that you elicit rewires your brain to see courage as normal, not exceptional. It's in these moments, small, consistent steps allow your brain to be trained from your inner strength. The more you practice, okay, the easier it becomes to act boldly in bigger situations. Daily reps of courage create a life led by strength instead of by fear. Number seven, guys, purpose will often ask you to do things that comfort would never demand, like sacrifice, patience, and persistence. But when you're aligned with a deeper, and this is important, um, why the difficult path becomes worth it. Choosing purpose over comfortability or ease doesn't mean life gets simpler, it means it gets more meaningful. You stop chasing quick wins and start pursuing lasting impact. Purposeful living is about trading temporary relief for long term fulfillment. And that's a trade worth making every single time. Number eight, the power of saying yes when it's hard. Saying yes when it's tough is where transformation begins. It's a powerful affirmation that you believe in your potential more than your excuses. Whether it's saying yes to leadership, vulnerability, or a new challenge, these moments redefine who you are as a person. They remind you that courage is not about having the answers, it's about being willing to try. That yes can be the catalyst for opportunities, connections, and breakthroughs you never imagined. Number nine, reframing failure as feedback. One of the biggest barriers to courage is the fear of failure. But what if we saw failure as feedback instead? Every misstep is a message, guiding, teaching, and refining us. When you reframe failure, it stops being something to avoid and becomes something to learn from. Failure means you dared to try, and in the effort, you already are ahead of everyone still paralyzed by fear. Courage reframes the story. It's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about using them as stepping stones. Number 10, courage as a lifestyle, not a moment. True courage isn't a single act, it's a way of life. It's woven into your mindset and every core of your being, your choices, and how you choose to show up daily. Courageous living means consistently choosing what's right over what's easy, what's authentic over what's accepted, and what's bold over what's safe. When you make courage your lifestyle, you inspire others to do the same. You become a beacon for transformation, not just in your life, but in the world around you. That's the legacy of living with courage over comfort. And I know a lot of people might not want to do this. And the reason they won't want to do it is because it's not easy, it's hard. Or should I say, it's uncomfortable. And we know many people always want to be in comfort and they're afraid that if something's uncomfortable, well, then they just want to shy away from it. But really, that's where all the magic happens. So now, what I want to do basically is give you one learning lesson for basically each point I talked about today. And my hope is that this will help solidify what these things mean in your life. Now, it's not something that you're going to pick up in 5 seconds. So you may want to watch this show again and again and again and again, right? And I think if you do that, you'll be able to see that there are patterns. And when these patterns form in your life, you can either recognize them and you can also choose to break them if they're patterns that you don't want to have in your life. So I think that's a very important thing. So let's kick off with number one. Define the concept of courage versus comfort. The learning lesson. Growth requires deliberate discomfort, right? Courage is not the absence of comfort. And I think that's something for a lot of people that they don't quite understand. But it makes people worried. Um, and so when people get worried, it's like they don't know what to say, they don't know what to do. They just become this like person that gets stuck in everything they do. And although they want to get unstuck so badly, they would rather stay stuck than to feel a little bit uncomfortable. I didn't say painful, I said a little uncomfortable. So, my lesson I've learned that real growth only starts when I step outside what feels familiar, my comfort zone. Comfort kind of lulls me into staying where it's easy. But I've discovered that my best moments, the ones I'm proud of and really want to celebrate, have happened when I chose courage instead of something else. It's a constant choice, but it's always worth it. Number two, the role of fear in keeping us in our comfort zones. My lesson here is fear held me back for years. I didn't even realize how often I let it decide for me. Once I started naming those fears and acting anyway, I felt freer. The fear didn't magically disappear, but its power over me did. Now I remind myself fear is a sign that something meaningful might be on the other side, and I should really have the courage to step there anyway, even if it's not quite comfortable. Why growth only happens when we step into discomfort? Well, my lesson here is I used to think discomfort meant I was doing something wrong. Now I've learned to realize that it often means I'm doing something right. It's just uncomfortable to grow. But every time I push through, I've emerged stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who I'm becoming. Examples of everyday courage. My lesson here is this. I've learned that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's sending the email, asking the question, showing up when I'd rather hide. The more I practice courage in these small, everyday ways, the more confident I became. Little brave steps have led to giant shifts in my life. Number five, the long term cost of staying comfortable. My lesson here is this. Looking back, I can see how comfort often delayed my progress. It felt safe at the time, but it also kept me stuck, immobile. The truth is, I've regretted staying comfortable more than I've ever regretted trying something bold. I've learned that progress demands some discomfort, and I'm okay with that now. Number six, how to build a courage muscle. Of course, it happens through small, consistent actions. I didn't wake up brave just one morning. It was built over time. Each small, uncomfortable action made me more resilient, whether it was speaking up in a meeting or launching a new idea. Those little moments trained me. Courage is like a muscle, and I've been strengthening it day after day with the intentions I put forth. Number seven, guys, is a very important one: choosing purpose over the ease of comfortability. And I know this one sounds like something that is so easy, but really, ladies and gentlemen, it is not. It definitely is not. Um, there have been days where quitting would just have been easier than continuing. But when I remember my purpose, why I started out, I keep going. And that fuels me when nothing else does. That inner why is so powerful and strong that it helps me choose meaning over convenience anytime it feels like I shouldn't continue. Number eight, the power of saving and saying yes when it's hard. Some of the best things in my life came from saying yes when it terrified me. I didn't always feel ready, but I said yes anyway. I've learned that bold yeses are often the meaning and beginning of something incredible, even when it seems scary. I trust that a yes can change everything. Now, of course, I do research what I'm doing, and the yes is there to help me go along the journey. But I realize sometimes that that journey can feel lonely, it can feel dark, it can feel troublesome. But I just go back to my why all the time, and that's what keeps me moving forward. Number nine, reframing failure as feedback. My lesson here is when I have failed in the past more than once, I want to share two things. First, if you only fail once or twice a year, that's not good. You might say, well, gee, that's great, John. Yeah, but what that really means is you're only learning twice a year. If you fail every day at something, then you're learning every day. And if you strengthen that, that's learning. So, as I said, I failed more than once, but I've also learned that failure isn't the end, it's part of the path. Every stumble um, gave me clarity and direction. I now see failure as a set of feedback, not as a flaw. It's helpful for me because I was able to adjust, grow, and move forward smarter and stronger. I think that's a real powerful thing. Number 10, courage as a lifestyle, not a moment. See, some people think you need to be courageous because of a fight or because of a certain moment in time. But the truth of the matter is, you need to be courageous all the time in your life. I mean, all the time, not just when it seems easy. Because anybody can be courageous when it's easy, but it's the champions that can embrace courage when it's hard. I used to think courage was something you use in big moments. Like I said, big fights, major accolades or award. But now I see it's a way of life every day. Choosing to be authentic, to change, and to take chances, to keep showing up. That's what courage looks like for me today and every day. And the more I live this way, the more it becomes who I am. It becomes the way of life. But if we think about courage for a moment, and we think about why that we step out of courage, I think it happens because we get fearful. We get fearful. And when fear gets too strong, it's like we've got to put the brakes on. But instead of putting the brakes on, we need to be able to move forward in a consistent way, not like a bull out of China shops, but in a way that's going to keep us propelled forward at a consistent motion. It does not need to be very fast, but it does need to be consistent. And I think the reason why a lot of people fail in courage is they just do courage for one day. That's a big problem. If you do courage for one day, then it's like you're cheating yourself, right? If you're doing courage to impress someone, then you're really not being courageous. You're putting on a show. If you're being courageous because you think it's something you need to do just for the moment, well, that's great. But then what about those other moments? How will you know when it's time to roll out courage? How will you know? Well, if you keep rolling courage out every single time, then you always will have courage at you just as easy as you breathe. But I know some people don't want to rely on courage. And it's not because they can't be courageous. It is because they get scared and don't understand what can happen. They don't realize how this change will affect them. They don't understand that if you are courageous right now, no one can take anything from you. Let me say that again. If you choose to be courageous in your life right this very moment, right now, no one can stop you. But being courageous isn't about being a bully. Being courageous is not about saying I know everything. Being courageous means that I'm going to move forward through it, regardless of the frustration that I might have, right? If we go over to our good friends, Merriam Webster, and we look up courageous, courageous, according to Merriam Webster, just so you know, it's an adjective. It's having or characterized by courage, being brave. So, what does that mean? So, that's a noun. It's a mental or a moral strength, according to Merriam Webster, to venture, to persevere, to withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. So you might hear courage a lot with the lion, right? The courageous lion uh, moved forward through the land, even while larger creatures were at his beck to cause him fear and anguish. But his courageousness is what kept him to be the head of the forest, right? We know that lions are very courageous. And I think if a lion wasn't courageous, I think it would be very scared. Do you all remember? It was the Wizard of Oz. Remember the Wizard of Oz? The Wizard of Oz and the Yellow Brick Road. I think it was the Wizard of Oz. I think it was the yellow brick road, and the lion who wanted courage. And the wonderful Wizard of Oz is what it was. It was the cowardly lion on the yellow brick road. It was driven by his desire to gain courage from the Wizard of Oz. He believed he needed courage to live up to his perceived role as the king of the beasts. But ultimately, he found that he already possessed it. You see, sometimes we have what it is that we need, but we just don't believe that we have it. So the cowardly lion, despite his fearsome appearance, was deeply insecure and anxious about his perceived lack of courage. He felt that he should be the brave king of the beasts, but was afraid of many things. He had joined Dorothy and her friends on the journey to the Emerald City to ask the wizard for courage. He believed the wizard had the power to grant him the courage. But what the wizard told him is he had the courage in his heart the entire time. That was very powerful. The wizard, after initially seeming reluctant, finally revealed that courage wasn't a magic spell or a gift, but a quality that resided within the lion himself, his heart. He emphasized that true courage is facing fear, not the absence of it. And so the lion skeptically, but initially decided then to eventually come to accept his own bravery, realizing that he had been courageous his whole life. He just never really appreciated that courage. So, have there been times in your life when maybe you wished you had more courage? What if you acted as if you had more courage? Well, John, how can I do that? I'm saying act as if you have the courage. And what you're going to find is that the courage is probably going to just appear. Now, that sounds like something so strange. But when we know we have something and act as if the universe just kind of puts it at our feet, ready for us to use. And so having courage allows us to get over any type of motivational blocks. Maybe something isn't the way we want it, but when we have courage, we go through anyway. Maybe you're studying for a test and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so difficult. But when you have courage, it's then that anything can move forward. Anything, my friends, anything can move forward. But it does not happen overnight. So if somebody said to me, John, how do I get courage? I say, if you have fear, which is false evidence appearing real, do it anyway. Anything in my life that I ever was fearful of, I just did it anyway. Even though I was fearful of it, I was courageous enough to do it. I'm like, that wasn't so bad. But I think we put so much onus on ourselves that fear causes us to not only get nervous, it causes us to cancel out any possible probability that we have for enacting courage. That's pretty powerful, guys. Fear is false evidence appearing real. I think if we can understand that courage is something that we actually have to build. Are we born with courage? No. We have to develop courage. And when we've learned how to develop it, it's a skill that no one can ever take away from us. And I think that's the biggest thing that most people don't realize. A lot of these traits that you wish you have or had, they're there. It's just you have to believe that they are there and act as if they are, right? Pretend as if you had courage. How would you act as if you had courage? Just pretend you had it. And before long, you're going to start to notice something. You're going to start to see courage. Now, comfort happens because a lot of times people get lazy or they just like to be in the comfort of their chair or whatever it is. They just don't like change. But change is where risk comes in. And that's where we have strength to be able to grow and surpass even more successes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Please be sure to like, love, and support the channel. Do go to believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations, and I'll catch you guys real soon. And keep up with the courage over the comfort. Take care, everyone.